It's iCkEdMeL here, and I have a former employee from Destiny Christian, somebody that used to work there, reached out to me anonymously, and I brought them on because I wanted to ask them some questions about their experience. The interview I did previously, I saw a lot of people commenting, and people were telling me about their experiences with private schools, and it's not all as what people might make it seem. I remember growing up and people always saying that private school is the way to go. It's better than public school and you should put your children there. But from some of the things I'm hearing, it's a little surprising. So, um, maybe can you introduce yourself? Like, when did you work there? How long were you working there for? Or around what time were you working there?
I actually went to school there as well.
Oh,
Um, I worked there in, I'd say, like 3 weeks in the mid 2000s.
so you worked for 3 weeks and you were going to school there. Were you doing both at the same time?
No, when I worked there, it was during the summer. It
Mm,
was right after school had let out for the year. And I figured I could make some quick cash, help the kiddos and be that all around role model for a child.
so you completed school there, like you finished everything there and you worked for a little bit?
Yes, I completed school that year. I actually attended there for 3 years,
Mm,
and a lot of things had happened, and I actually ended up with really bad migraines, and I could not return to school, so my mother had to homeschool me.
really?
Yes.
Wow. Can you maybe like walk us through a little bit? Because there's a lot of us, like, especially like myself included, like, I don't know at all what private school is like. Like, maybe can you tell us some of the things that you went through or some of the things that you've seen? Like, what were some of your experiences there?
Private school is nothing like you see on TV shows or that you read about. It's probably the hardest for a teenager or a child because they're pushing God on you in your
Right.
school subjects as well.
Mm,
And for a while, I had become atheist because they had pushed God on me, and the way I was treated when I went there, I felt like, if this was God, why would you push this on me? And you're saying it's the right thing.
mm. Yeah, I don't agree particularly with forcing children into religion or, especially if it's uncomfortable, maybe even in school. I mean, what was some of the things that you saw or what made you uncomfortable over there? Was it a personal experience or was it things you saw happening to other kids or was it both?
It was both. I was bullied extremely bad. And I watched the video from the lady this morning that you interviewed,
Hmm.
and she said, there's a big connection between things. Well, the administration has been there, they opened it.
Mm,
And the principal now is the daughter of the person that is like the superintendent over the little private school. And then at the time, the counselor was the sister to the principal when I was there. It's like a whole family clique.
okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. They all know each other. It's all these personal connections.
And if
Um,
you didn't come from money
mm,
or you didn't fit their standard or statute, you they kind of just shoved you to the side. Like when I got bullied and my mom told them how bad I was getting bullied because, I go into this school and I'm all excited to learn and, make new friends. And then instantly it's like a drastic drop in my personality. And the counselor actually told my parents that it was my fault that I was being bullied.
wow.
Yes.
Now, when you say you were being bullied, it was like by other students. Is that what you're talking about, or?
Yes, by other students. And then as it got worse, it's like the faculty kind of picked up on it.
Mm. Now, when you say bullying, like what kind of things would they do? Was it like name calling? Was it like I forget the word, the terminology. There's another thing where they kind of like do these, I don't know, these bullying things where they physically pranks, like harassing. Like what kind of level was it? Just name calling or?
No, I wish it was just name calling. I could have, dealt with that.
Oh.
There was a point I was sitting in the cafeteria eating, which I was only close with one teacher, and she seen what I was going through. And I was sitting in the cafeteria eating by myself, and somebody threw a hot fry that literally just came out of
Mm.
the fryer with ketchup on it and hit me in the face, actually my eye to be exact. And I had somebody I had been best friends with since way before private school. And she threatened to hurt me and her
Mm.
friends. They would follow me to the bathroom.
Wow.
And the teacher I was close with actually made her write an apology letter.
Mm.
It was really bad. I had 1 year, because I have a lot of illness. So I was bullied for that too. People would tell
Okay.
me, I was faking it. And I actually had an issue with my stomach where I had to have surgery. And a teacher woke me up because I went to school to take the end of the year test. And I shouldn't have even been in school with how sick I was. I just answered everything and laid my head down. Well, the teacher woke me up. My mom was waiting for the
Mm.
doctor to find out when I would have surgery. And the teacher woke me up and got in my face and told me that I was lying and I wasn't going to have surgery because I wasn't sick. Well, I called my mom crying, and my mom came and picked me up, and I told her, and my mom got in that teacher's face and told her, my daughter is violently ill. And the teacher did not apologize to me, nor my mother, but the teacher did end up crying.
The teacher did end up crying, you said?
Yes,
Okay. It seems like the wild, wild west over there. It's not at all what I thought a private school was like. I've gone to public school my entire life, but the way people have made it seem, or society has made it seem, you almost think that it's like this perfect place where it's calm, peaceful, you learn about God, and you don't have to worry about the stuff that you worry about in public school, but it does seem like really unregulated, anything goes. So you have to pay to go to the school. It's like you can't just get in there for free, I guess, or it's like I guess because it's private, so you have to pay, I guess, right?
I've heard that when I went there were kids that got kicked out of public school, and Destiny would take them,
Mm.
and I didn't know if it was like a write off or anything, but we
Mm.
had some really bad kids come to this school from surrounding areas that were from public schools because they couldn't get along with anybody there.
Mm.
And my parents paid, I don't know if it was $300 or $400 a month.
Wow. Okay.
And they also had to buy uniforms.
Mm.
Um, Private school was extremely, extremely strict. On Tuesdays, we had chapel, and the girls had to wear a skirt and a white button up, and it had to have the school's logo on it. And if it didn't, you got sent home
Mm.
to go change your clothes.
Okay.
The boys had to wear slacks and a button up that was similar to the girls, but it was a different fit. Every other time, you had to wear a polo, or you could wear your khaki pants, or girls could wear a skirt. It didn't matter which one any other day. But it was bad.
Wow. What else? What else did you experience? So, I mean, you were getting bullied. You had a really bad time. It seems like even the faculty jumped in. Did you see anything happen to any other kids? Like other kids were having a hard time going through different things, or did you see any kind of abuse or anything like that, or what you would consider
Um,
abuse?
I didn't see abuse,
Mm-hmm.
but if we got caught chewing gum, we would get a swat, which is a
Mm-hmm.
whooping
Okay.
for just chewing gum. You would get swats for having your phone out. Just little petty things that you wouldn't think you would get a spanking for.
With those things that were going on over there, like how come maybe your parents didn't take you out? Like, what is the reason that some of these kids are staying in there, or just the parents don't want to take them out, or?
I hid what I could from my parents that was
Mm.
happening. I mean, like you said, you think private school is going to be this, you know, amazing thing where you get to learn about God and
Mm.
mold your mind. And I didn't want to upset my parents because
Right.
they were paying that money. There were times in classes, like everybody would be failing. I ended up, after I did the homeschooling, I went to a public school for the remainder of my high school years, and I passed in public school. I had no issues. I was top in my class, but when I was at private school, nothing was working.
So
Like, I couldn't pass any grades,
yeah.
anything, and it felt like because I wasn't into that clique of
Mm,
knowing everybody, my
right.
grades weren't excelling like the other people's that they knew.
Yes, it was like an all-out horrible experience for you. You did better in public school. Um, what kind of work did you do there for the while that you did? If you're comfortable
I
saying.
know they required psychology, anatomy, geometry, and these were in like lower grades of high school.
Hmm.
So they tried to set you up for college, but it wasn't really setting you up, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Right. Um, what would you say? Like, I mean, going through what you went through, like, what would you say? I mean, for parents that are like looking to get their kids into private school, like, or what kind of advice would you give to parents or tips? I mean, just going off of what you've gone through for parents looking to get their kids into private school.
I'm actually a mom now myself,
Oh, well,
and I have a 16-year-old and I have a 10-year-old.
mm,
And I always make sure that if it's a school my child goes to, I'm going to make sure I can go in the classroom anytime I please. Because if something bad is going to happen and they're willing to do it behind a locked door and I can't get in,
mm-hmm,
then what's to say they're going to do something when I'm not there?
right,
Um, for me, if you're going to do private school for your kids, the best thing is homeschooling because you have total control over what your children learn. And you can also put them in extracurricular activities so they're around other children their age and students.
right. I've heard that's kind of the best thing if you have the time. If you can, a lot of parents can't do it, but I do hear that homeschooling is the best. If you had to pick from what you've gone through, would you homeschool? Do you homeschool your kids now, or are they in public school?
I homeschool,
Okay, but if you had to pick between private and public, I guess you would go with public school. Yeah?
definitely.
Definitely. Okay. What do you think about like some of the situations now that happen in the news, like the whole McDonald's situation where the 4-year-old, it seems like apparently wasn't even escorted to the bathroom and the guy was there and he did what he did. Like, what's your thoughts on that with the McDonald's thing?
For me as a parent, I would want somebody to escort my child to the bathroom. I mean, even if it was a bathroom with multiple stalls, you could take a child into the bathroom and stand outside their stall to make
Right.
sure that there isn't a predator.
Right.
And, you know, I think parents should also teach their children that, the whole stranger danger that know a lot of parents aren't teaching their kids nowadays. When you see somebody that's around you and they're, going to your private parts, you start screaming.
Mm, that's a good tip. Yeah, that's
Or,
true.
even if they grab your hand, you scream because you don't know that person.
Yeah, and I just thought too, like I was really surprised when I heard this story. I mean, I never heard of this school before, but like I was telling Amber earlier, to me that's one of the most basic fundamentals. Like you don't have to be a genius, you don't have to be even a professional, a daycare the most basic thing you do, especially in a public place, is walk your child or walk the child to the bathroom. So I was really surprised about that, and the offender being there and working in a cafeteria for 3 years and the whole museum situation. Did you hear about the museum where a child was left behind? Did you know about that or no?
No, I didn't.
So you had a really hard time. There was a lot of bullying. The staff did not help at all. Were there other
No,
kids being
sadly,
bullied
they
too?
didn't.
Did
Yes, there were kids being bullied, but they wouldn't say anything.
okay.
Like, we had a boy in my class which when you're in the class with somebody, you pretty much go all, I think it's six
Hmm.
hours when I was there. You go all 6 hours and you're with the same class.
Oh,
but you go to different classrooms for different subjects.
So you're together the whole day while you're there. You don't. I remember in school we would separate. You have different classmates for different classes. You guys would follow each other all day long, like to different classes.
Yes, except one class, I guess you could count it as foreign language.
Hmm.
There was German and there was sign language. And that's where you split up.
Okay. Did you ever see the daycare thing? Do you know what it even looks like?
The daycare, when I was there, it was actually all the classrooms for every grade. Um, the school actually had an incident where we had a really bad ice storm and the gym fell in.
Whoa.
So it took out quite a few classrooms and the barracks, and they ended up putting all the kids for daycare because we had to do, if we weren't passing our grades in school, we had to go to what was this mandatory study hall where we had to sit there and study from the time school was out until, I don't remember if it was 4:30 or 5. And if you didn't go to it, you got in trouble. So, of course, you go to the bathroom and you're passing the classrooms through this. You see all these kids. And when I went, it wasn't really like daycare where they try to teach. It's where they were having fun.
Like they're just playing, I guess, like trying to.
Yes.
But I guess because I know that's part of it, like the kids have fun and stuff. But I mean, was it just in passing that you saw, or you passed so many times that you've seen that that's a regular thing? They're just playing there the whole time, like they're not actually learning, kind of thing, or.
I helped one of my teachers grade papers, and I was in the classroom because they were using their classroom as the after-school daycare, and that's all they pretty much did. And I was in there for, I want to say, about an hour and a half.
And what do you mean by what is like listening to music, or just like kind of dancing, or just kind of like?
They would get to play board games
Okay.
and draw on the dry erase board, or they'd have movies or things like that.
And do you know how many, like, the ratio from a caregiver or teacher or just, I guess, a regular person, because it doesn't seem like the place was even licensed for the kids, but how many adults to children ratio? Was it 1, 2?
When I worked there, we had the main teacher, people or students that worked there during the summer. We had, I believe, 2 to 3 under the teacher, and we had 6 kids apiece.
Okay, 6 kids per person that's under the teacher.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's not bad. And I want to kind of reference to really quick, because there's people probably watching that think like, oh, what's wrong with them just having fun? I get what you mean with that, because one of the previous preschools that my daughter went to, she actually wasn't really learning anything there. They were just playing games and having fun. So for some people, they might think that, oh, what's the problem with that? Well, where she goes now, they actually teach her. She talks a lot more. She socializes. She's kind of shy a little bit. She's learning a lot more words, and they go outside and they play, and they just have all these different activities. They give you like I guess you could say an agenda. There's an app. They send you pictures, their schedule, their meals, everything. Like that's how you kind of have to be involved.
Well, all I could think, is if you're going to send your kids and pay good money for quote unquote daycare, you want them to learn something.
Yeah. And I thought, because from what I read online, I don't know if it's accurate. It said it's just like a summer program for the kids. Do you know if that's how it was back then? It's just a summer.
The school or the daycare?
The daycare.
The daycare during the summer, it starts in June and it ends right before school starts here in Oklahoma in August.
And it's just a summer program thing, right?
And then the after-school daycare goes from the beginning of school in August until May when school lets out.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. You have any final thoughts? Let me ask you this too before we end off. What you went through in that private school? I mean, I'm sure you're telling me you were bullied and stuff. I'm sure it was a lot more dramatic for you. You were bullied. Were you bullied constantly the whole time while you were there, like a majority of the time, or and did it have lasting effects? Like, or as an adult now, does it still affect you what you went through in school?
Yes, it affects me extremely in everyday activities. I started getting my depression when I was actually there, and it's just kind of grew over the years. And that's why I chose to do schooling with my child the way I am,
Right.
because I don't want him to have to go through any of that. And with today, how teachers can be, and
And
children
kids.
are
Yeah.
more
Oof.
vile today
Oh
than they
yeah.
were back in the day.
It's kind of unfortunate, and I went through this in my childhood too, where like kids, they're afraid to speak to their parents, they're afraid to openly communicate. I mean, what would you say? I mean, if you have any thoughts or advice, or what maybe could have your parents done maybe to make you feel more comfortable uh, to communicate with your kids? Like, what do you suggest for parents to do so they can have open communication with their children?
On the child's point of view, I wish I would have had friends at the school so I could talk to my friends' parents about it,
Mm,
and maybe they would tell my parents, because I was afraid to tell my parents the in-depth details about everything. And, parents, you don't want to be their best friend, but you want to know that there is a communication there and you're not going to judge your child.
right. That's what I find it to be. It's kind of like a weird kind of balance because I have friends that have told me they tell their parents everything, and I didn't grow up like that. I didn't tell my mother a lot of stuff. I was afraid of the repercussions, you know, being disciplined. I used to get the belt. Uh, One kind of off topic question I want to ask you too. How do you feel about discipline? I don't even know if this affects children talking to their parents, communicating, but as far as like physical, like, what's your personal opinion on that? Do you, do you prefer like timeouts kind of stuff, or are you the kind of person like you feel the belt and
For me, thankfully, I was blessed with two kids that listen.
mm,
But for me, when I was a child, I was hard headed and stubborn. The belt worked when my parents whooped me
mm,
and being grounded. Now, for me, all I have to do is get the mom voice,
mm,
and my kids are like, oh man, mom's upset. What did I do?
all right,
But some kids need the belt. Some kids, my dad had me write lines.
mm-hmm,
He even had me write the Ten Commandments, or
okay,
whichever one I broke.
mm-hmm.
If I didn't listen to my parents, I had to write that one. It would vary.
Do you feel that had a positive effect on you? You said it helped you out.
It did both.
Okay,
It, I mean, we always go through things in our past to prepare us for our future.
right,
And, you know, if I wouldn't have, been spanked or grounded or wrote lines or stuck in the corner, I wouldn't be where I am as a mom today.
all right, that's good. I know it's a little kind of deep, but I just wonder. I have these kind of questions myself. I know too that all kids are different, so like what works for one child might not work for the other, and I just also wonder certain type of disciplines, like does that have an effect when it comes time for a child to communicate to you? If a child's being sexually abused and then is a child that's being beaten, belted, and like all this kind of, some parents take it to the extreme. Is a parent that's a child that's already getting beaten really going to turn around and then communicate to that parent that, oh, this is what I'm going through, somebody's inappropriately doing this or that? I would think that they probably wouldn't.
They may feel that they're going to get into more trouble if they
Yeah.
say something, which, like the whole subject with McDonald's and the little girl, you know, I hate that that happened to her. I really do.
Right.
But her parents have also probably instilled in her, if someone touches you in a spot, you need to tell somebody. So I'm glad that she did that,
Right.
because
Right.
then it got this predator off the street, so he won't do it to somebody else.
Well, the question is, I wonder too how much time he's gonna get. you know, I'm sure he's not going to get like a life sentence or something. He'll probably be out. I mean, I don't know how the law works or whatever with that.
We in Oklahoma, our law system is so broken.
And
Sadly,
the thing too, I was questioning is like, I'm sure this is probably not this guy's first time. If he was that brazen to do it in a public place at McDonald's, there's probably other kids out there that this guy has done that to. So, all right, no, I just wanted to bring you on from that, and a little bit of introspective. You know, as one parent to another parent's watching, and just kind of curious about the communication thing. And I really appreciate the insight into private school, because I've never been there, but it's not all roses and sunshine as it seems. And like you, from what I get from what you've been saying, is that it really pays off for parents to really be involved and actually walk into those classrooms, like you said, and see what's going on, meet those teachers, talk to other parents. I meant to say too in another video, you can't just rely off of reviews, because I know some companies to pay for reviews, or I've even heard of some companies offering parents discounts to put a good review in online. So if you just base your opinion off of a review, you could be setting yourself up for failure. Thank you so much for coming on. Any final thoughts? Or
my final thought would be just keep a good eye on your child and keep that good communication line open.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.